Good evening, traders. Let's do an audio-visual check. How's everybody doing? It's a great, interesting Sunday night for everybody. Monday, depending on where you are at around the world. Mic sounds good. Let's do it. Audio-visual good. Awesome. Well, let's just go ahead and get started. It's a very, do I dare say, historic Monday for Topstep. It's a big day. It's a very big day for Topstep and all of the traders that are in this prop firm world. And I'm going to start off, as we always do. Our Topstep risk disclosure is in the YouTube chat. This is not a signals class. This is for educational purposes only. We all know that. I do place trades on Sunday. Just to review slow markets, what we're going to do is we're going to review the NASDAQ. We're going to look at crude oil. We're going to look at the Nikkei. Obviously, you see I have the Nikkei on my chart. It's been starting to sell off a little bit. And then we'll jump into gold right at 8 p.m. Central. And, throughout the night, if I do see something good, of course, I'm going to try and take a trade and see what we could find. Now, that being said, what an interesting day here at Topstep. You guys probably know what's going on. I noticed it as soon as I logged into Topstep X. I got this notification talking about the removal of a daily loss limit. So I want to hear everybody in chat. I'm going to run a poll because Topstep is now eliminating and removing the daily loss limit on Topstep X. So, are you going to use a daily loss limit? Yes or no? I'm curious because this is big. This is very, very big. Obviously, I'm a coach here, and I want what's best for the traders. And I think this can go one of two ways, depending on how you are as a trader, right? When you remove the daily loss limit, a few things happen. We have a lot more control as a trader, just like a personal account. We have our own control. Are we going to, risk everything and blow our account in one day? When you put money into your personal brokerage, you could do that. So there's a lot more control. There's a lot more flexibility, of course. Just because there's not going to be a daily loss limit does not mean that we do not have to put one. Oh, look, there you go. Coach T. I go to my settings, and you guys could see this. Coach T from Topstep, set up your personal daily loss limit. And obviously, you go to next, and it will go through this. Add or adjust. This is pretty dang nice. Add or adjust your personal daily loss limit. Choose an action. How nice is this? And go through and, if you do not have a personal daily loss limit, I always will recommend putting one. The original one for a 150K account is $3,000. So even though Topstep has removed the daily loss limit on Topstep X, I would always recommend having one, whether it's, just go in, put 3,000, maybe you could even do something even smaller, 1,500, 3,000, and then the action, you can liquidate and block, and then you can also put a daily target, right? And then you could go through and do that. So even though you guys did it, it's customizable so that you could go through and do this as you want. Now remember, it's for new combines, new XFAs or any reset. So if you reset a combine, this will apply. If you, activate a new Express Funded account, then you will not have a daily loss limit in Topstep X. And I strongly recommend going in and putting your own. I mean, you don't have to not use it, right? Just like trading. Anything with trading, trading is optional. Using a daily loss limit is now optional. I will always recommend having a daily loss limit. So what do you guys think about that? Of course, there's going to be some traders in here. 85% will be using a daily loss limit. 15% will be using a daily loss limit. Okay, next question. So it looks like obviously 84% of you are erring on the safe end, which, trust me, a daily loss limit saved so many traders, including myself, in trading combines. The next one I'm going to ask is, what will your daily loss limit be? So I'm curious. Now, just assuming, is it going to be the 3,000 level? Maybe I'm just going to put a few of them out there. I just want to see what options you guys are wanting to put as a daily loss limit. So I'm going to just come through and put a couple options out here. So yeah, let's see. There you go. $1,000, $1,000, 70% of what the current level is, 750, and it depends on what account. This is assuming a 150K account. Let's just say a 150K account. Obviously you could do the math if you want to be complicated. 1,000. Wow, that's impressive. I'm starting to see a lot of traders in here saying $1,000 on your daily loss limit. That is impressive. I'm going to let that poll run for a little bit, but let's jump into the markets. Remember, we're on a limited amount of time. Let's take a look at the daily chart on the NASDAQ, and let's get to it. Daily chart, NASDAQ, let's talk through it. Immediately, the first thing I see is we had that ugly sell-off we all know and we all seen about for the past, basically July, right? The second half of July going into the first week of August. And ever since then, it's been just buy, right? Buy. Rallying all the way up. We touched 20,000 and we're starting to sell off a little bit. I'm not surprised. I was looking for something like this. I was actually kind of wanting to see a deeper pullback, maybe more consolidation. We came up, we tested this resistance once again, and we're becoming either consolidating. I mean, this is very healthy, right? Just because we had a really red day, what was this, on Thursday, we rallied some of that back on Friday. I would like to see more consolidation. I would love to see more consolidation, maybe a deeper pullback. One thing to note is that we had some support here before, and sure enough, this was resistance. So this was support, became resistance. It was a little bit of resistance, and then again, it acted as support, and we're bouncing off that support. We bounced off of it Friday. Today is Sunday night, Monday, and we're starting to rally a little bit. So if we zoom into a 1 hour chart, you guys could see it. It's a lot more clean. It's a lot more clear. You could see the resistance, support and resistance. This was resistance. It became support, and we're starting to rally. Friday was interesting. We had a lot of volatility going back up and forth. However, we are starting to push back up. One thing that I'm watching is this was support. It was becoming resistance on Friday. And so this is a nice zone to take into consideration whether we're going to show as resistance or if we can break through this. If we break through this, it looks pretty clean to the upside. Maybe we come back and test these highs right around the 19,020s, 19,030s. Oh, that's not the right one. So we come up higher, above 1900, 1920, 1930. I don't know if we could get to 20,000 overnight, but anything can happen. We're starting to find buyers, and it's basically buy the dip now, right? We've been rallying ever since that crazy week a few weeks ago, and it's been higher highs. This is something to take note. We had that big sell-off, and immediately on Friday, we had a higher high, and we're continuing to make that. And, it looks like even tonight, we're above 19,800. We're holding above it. I would like to see, are we going to push up and break out of this resistance that we've seen on Friday? I mean, this is a pretty big wick on the hourly chart. I think so. I'm bullish. Anything could happen. Let's take a look at the Topstep daily levels. I love this. If you guys don't know, these are just the daily levels that our Topstep team, coaches, Hogue, they're able to put this on here. They've matched up really nice. And look at this. Look how nice these levels. Now remember, these are not signal. It doesn't mean when it goes up to this area, buy or sell, but we have two of them. And if you guys did not know, look how nice we could set this up, where you could go into this chart settings. And where was it at? I think it was like in here where we could put the details on it. I'll have to go through and find, yeah, indicator name, right? So that makes it nice. I found that out on Friday. And look, it shows you, and I love this. Shows Topstep yesterday's value area high, the settlements, yesterday's volume point of control, and these are pretty dang nice. It's something I've been watching for the past few weeks, and ever since they came out, and it's been nice. Of course, yesterday's high is going to come into it. It makes it visualized because you could see, right? Anybody could look in here. They've been aligning really close to where my support and resistance is again. And it's been very clean. Now remember, yeah, how do I turn that name on again? Right-click the chart, click on settings, and it's the indicator's name in scales. Indicator's name. I love it. I really do. Now let's move on to crude oil. Now, if you guys remember, I'm gonna get rid of this for a minute. If you guys remember, Thursday, this is the hourly chart. I was trying to set a buy limit down here, and unfortunately, we did not get down to get to the buy limit. We did not break. We did not run for liquidity below basically the 72.80s. We kind of got there. We came within like 10, 15 ticks, and then immediately have this huge rally. We broke through this. You can see this was a very, nice, clean break above. We didn't even come back and retest it. We just broke. Right now, we are at this maybe resistance level. Yeah, is crude oil becoming bullish again? Let's take a look at the daily. We're still kind of just choppy, right? I was kind of looking for us to get down to 68. We never did. There's something to pay attention to. There was a lot of resistance in this area, a lot of resistance. And once again, is this an area to short? I don't know. There's some resistance here at 75. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit of a pullback or a sell-off down to 74, maybe some key level. I'm now bullish crude oil. What I would love to see in crude is some type of a pullback. Maybe we could get a pullback down towards an area of support. This was support back, August 16th, not too long ago. Maybe somewhere right here we could get a pullback to the 74.30s to 74.50 level before looking to get long and see if we can make a run and start making some more highs. Do we see crude trying to test $80 a barrel? I don't know, but we could very well. That wouldn't be too unrealistic. There's not too much stopping it from a technical aspect. If we start to rally and break out, maybe we come up, of course, the 68.5 level is going to be the first key area that I'll see. Let's take a look at those Topstep daily levels again. Topstep daily levels, yeah, there's one right there at 77.10. 77.10 might be interesting. Last week's high, we're getting really close to last week's high. And then we have weekly kickoff high. So last week's high, that's a nice, yeah, that's right around where I was looking, right? Nice little area of resistance. Now it's a zone. Remember, these are not exact. To me, that's a zone. And yeah, we rallied up. Maybe we come up and test this and then find some type of pullback on there. Ooh, okay, what do we have? 12 minutes until the gold open. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nikkei because I wanted to point something out on Nikkei before we started. Now we're starting to sell off. This is Nikkei, the Japanese market. Take a look at this. This is why I was on that when I started the stream. We are starting to break this downtrend. We're starting to sell off. We did touch 38,000. We broke below 38,000. Very realistically, maybe we could see some more sell pressure down to 37,500. There's some levels around that area where maybe we could come down and test around 37,500 zone? Or is this a buy the dip opportunity? I don't see too many. It is a little bit scary just because we did break a lot of this, support that we made. So far, I'm not going to touch the Nikkei. I just wanted to point that out. Mark, Dakota, did you manually add those Topstep levels? No, I did not. As we switch to gold, I'll put them on again. And I'll show you on the daily aspect where, gold has been very bullish. I've been looking at 2,600 for a while now, right? We had this nice rally up, and then we've had this bull flag. This is a daily chart. This bull flag, we broke out of this bull flag, and we're starting to, of course, rally again in gold. It's not been a very clean cut rally, right? It wasn't as clean and as just straight up. It's been a little bit choppy, but we're still going up and to the right. But when I add those Topstep daily levels, I did not add these. I did not type this in. Let me zoom into an hourly so it's a lot cleaner, and we'll continue to zoom in. All I did was go into the settings and click scale and then just indicator name, and it was already there. So on the hourly chart, the first thing I'm seeing is this market is extremely bullish. I'm still looking for 2,600 to be hit. The first area, I mean, this is obvious. This is a strong key resistance. If we break above that, then I could see us obviously making a run for highs. On the downside, I would love to see a pullback, maybe a pullback towards this 30s and 38s, these upper 30s. This was resistance. If we start to zoom in, we did break out. We came up and tested it, and we sold all the way back down, it looks like, in that hour, and then had that rally. There's a lot of support in this area. As we start to zoom in on a 5-minute chart, you can see it, we're starting to zoom in, starting to see a lot more clarity, and I'll add that indicator again. And we can see it a little bit more as we start to zoom in. So yesterday's high, a value area high. We have yesterday's volume point of control. We have settlement down here at 46. And then, of course, value area low. And this is kind of on the downside. If we even get to 38, will be interesting. Let's watch it. And the way we've been watching this gold is at 8 p.m., we do see a spike in volatility. So there's been a nice spike in volatility at gold each and every night, 8 p.m. Central. And lately, the play has been waiting 10 minutes after 8 p.m., so 8:10, we take a reversal. So originally what the play is, and I'll talk it through, and we'll watch and we'll trade and we'll do some examples. Say at 8 p.m., maybe we get a nice rally up to 53, and then right at 8:10, or give or take, right? It's not exact. It's like maybe even time could be plus or minus a few minutes. Then we take the reversal and see if we could get a reversal back down, or vice versa. Maybe at 8 p.m. we start to sell off. Maybe we could get down to 42. And then 10 minutes after, we start to find a reversal back up. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Let's see what happens. We're seeing some volatility starting to come into the markets now. Let's get to a few questions while I get a drink. Man, what a Sunday night. So, we also finished this poll. Let's take a look at the poll. Daily loss limit. Looks like a lot of you guys are going to use $1,000 for your daily loss limit. I like that. Now remember, this is just estimates. Good 1,000, 1,500. Some of you guys are going to use just the regular 3,000. Interesting. Okay. Also, if I didn't mention, I will be reviewing some trader statistics. So now remember, if you guys stay and throughout the entire class, I do review statistics after we finish this gold trade and do some Q&A. I'll link it here in the YouTube chat. where submit your statistics. Go in. That's the link to my personal channel in Topstep's Discord. You can submit your statistics in there, and I'll review them. Just try and leave a note so that way I have a little bit of context when reviewing those stats. Yeah, make sure you guys actually choose an action for when you set your own daily loss limit. That was nice. That was nice when you go to these settings and it gave that. Just make sure you fill this out. Choose an action, what it does when it gets that daily loss limit. It's going to be interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of traders out there that choose not to do a daily loss limit. The power of a daily loss limit cannot be understated. Now, just because you have the option not to use one doesn't mean you should. I mean, yeah, it's going to be Monday. There's probably going to be a lot of traders out there that's not going to use it and wish that they had. Trust me. What's the difference between HL and value area high? Tessa Siva, I think that's going to be a better question for Hogue during the day show, because I know a little bit of it, but I don't feel confident enough talking about those Topstep levels, like the value area high, value area low. I think that's what you're referring to. We have so many great coaches. I know Coach Jay, Coach Vince, Coach Ray. And I mean, the best place, maybe if you want your, some of the questions answered in that Topstep Discord, there's amazing traders that will be able to answer that probably even better than I can. I'm more of a technical trader, technical analysis, Fibonacci's patterns. You guys, I mean, I go through and I try and go through as much as I can each night. Not much happening. It's 6:56. We still have 4 minutes until the 8 p.m. open. Value area high and value area are 70% of the daily volume. Topstep is the best prop firm. I can confirm that. Topstep's the best. I mean, it's second to none for what Topstep does for the traders, right? Built by the traders, for the traders, platform, flexibility. To be honest, MP's great. You guys just ask for it. And if there's enough demand, Topstep does it within reason, right? It's like, how do you teach a trader who's new to trading, who may not know what they want, right? And I was having a conversation right before I came on stream, was like, we have a lot of new traders here at Topstep, and some of them don't realize how important a daily loss limit is. And so it's like, how do you teach, nobody take offense to this, but it's like a little kid, right? When you have a little kid and they put their hand on a hot stove, and of course it burns them, and then they put their hand on the hot stove again and it burns them, and then again and again, eventually that kid's going to learn to not put their hand on the hot stove. And then for the kids who have not put their hand on the hot stove, and you tell them like, hey, the stove's hot, don't put your hand on it. Some will learn by others and seeing others, put their hand on the hot stove. Others, traders just have to learn by just going through it. And so maybe that's going to be part of it. No daily loss limit. If you have to go through that to learn the importance, so be it. Some of us are just hard-headed. We really are. Traders are, in general, very hard-headed, emotional things that you just have to go through the hard stuff to learn yourself. If they do it 3 times, you trade the kid in for a new. Yeah, if it was that easy, huh? You could burn your hand on a hot stove or make some nice eggs. Yeah. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. John Wayne. Yeah, you're. Still waiting for this 8 p.m. Answering some questions. We're hanging out. And I remember, if this was true trading, we could just sit here and watch these markets and be bored together. Life is hard. Wear a helmet. I have so many fun sayings that go with that. Some that, man, I'd have to go through and dig through them in my notes on my phone. Can we see the NASDAQ? I went through the NASDAQ at the beginning. We're watching this gold, and we're going to see if we could get a gold trade. Right at 8 p.m. Central, every single night, we pull up gold. We see if there's an opportunity. There's a nice spike in gold, whether it's up or down, or we just chop around. There is a spike in volatility, and it's been great for trading potential. Kevin, there's a lot of coal miner sayings that I cannot say on stream. I'd have to like make more appropriate to say. And a lot of them I haven't even heard or repeat. Coal miners have a lot of cuss words. What is the best time to trade Nikkei? I to be honest, for Nikkei, I say now. This about tonight is the time. The market's open, and the Asian market's open. Nikkei is a great market to trade at this time. Not for newer traders though, because it does not have minis yet. Let's watch. We'll watch the gold. Let's do it. Let's do a poll. We'll do another poll while we watch the gold trade. Coach Hoop says long gold. Depends on what time frame you're on, right? I'm bullish gold. I want to be a buyer of gold. So, kind of, I would really like gold to sell off here and then give us a nice reversal to buy it. That would be my preferred trade where, do we get a sell off and a beautiful opportunity to buy gold? Or do the tougher trade is going to be if we do start to rally to try and sell it. It's already 8:01, and we're seeing some volatility come in here. We bounced from 54.5 to 50, or 48.5 to 50. Yeah, J trades. Yeah. I don't recommend the Nikkei. Until the Nikkei gets micros, it's probably best to stay away from it. It's $25 per tick, but it is the Japanese market, and I do watch it, and I do trade it myself. But for newer traders or traders, more realistically is to not trade the Nikkei. That's why I don't cover it too much. Copper's running. Kind of just hanging out here around the 49 level. Yeah, Shayla, maybe one day we could get some micros on the Nikkei. All right, pushing these 48.5s, 48.5. Like I said, I'm waiting for some sell-offs. I would like to see us get to an area of support, maybe come down here, I don't know, in the 45s somewhere, 25, 45. Maybe we don't. If we don't, we're still 2 minutes past. We have 8 minutes until we want the initial move first. We want a nice move up or a move down to see if we could get some type of a reversal after the 10-minute mark. Bernie, yes, but not everywhere yet. Yeah. $42.10 is the next level down here. Yeah, I could see us maybe even coming back down to these 42s, maybe 41s. We're starting to push. Not much of a push. We checked 48s, 48.2. We're just hovering in these 48s, testing 49s. We still have 7 minutes to get an initial move. One thing I'm thinking of and one thing I am considering is if we consolidate here long enough, then it would look very enticing for a breakout trade. So if we just hang out here and then we start to break out, could be the trade rather than the reversal. On a reversal after 10 minutes, I would like to see, I want gold to move. I want to see volatility. We're traders. We want volatility in terms of, maybe you're scalping this range. That's hard for me to do. Maybe you're like Dobie. You're, a great range trader. I'm not that great of a range trader myself. I would have liked gold to move already. I would have loved to see gold come all the way down here and then get that reversal trade, but we're not moving. And the more we consolidate, the more a breakout trade is attractive to me, right? So I would either like us to break out now or stay consolidating, so that way I could take a breakout trade. If not, you know what? We're not forced to trade, guys. We could take a look at these other markets. Taking a look at the NASDAQ, we are pushing up. We had that nice. So here's the open from Sunday. We rallied all the way up to 832, sold off 100 points. Maybe we sold off 110 points, and now we rallied right back up 100 points. So there's been some volatility in the NASDAQ. I think I'm going to like a breakout trade here on gold. So I'm going to go ahead and put an order. I'm going to put an order to get in long if we break out to the long side. I'd be risking about 250 bucks on this because my stop would be below this pivot that we made 10 minutes before 8, about 7:50 p.m. Just very, very chopful. NASDAQ's not, we are starting to sell off a little bit on the NASDAQ. Is crude oil? Yeah, I don't really want to touch crude oil. It's not moving very much anyway. But gold has been not too great to us Thursday night or tonight. Starting to find some buyers. The question is, okay, now we got out or got into it. So risking, I want to switch it to ticks. We'll go ahead to charts and data, go to ticks. And now, as always, let's go ahead and we will journal this. Risking 26 ticks. Now, if you haven't joined me before, everybody knows who has been here about, my love of journaling and why I always suggest to journal is let's make sure we're going to journal everything. We want to do this like 16. Maybe we could do, 20. We're going to do this as the aggressive stop loss. Now we're going to do it. We're going to try and trail this, and we'll also keep track because it's still not 10 minutes after. So I'm curious is if we were more patient and we waited for 10 minutes after and take a reversal, that this was the initial move, right? And then maybe we get that reversal. So, I want to make sure I'm journaling and keeping track of everything when it comes to this. So aggressive stop loss, I think, is going to be a lot better right there. And then, of course, I'm going to make sure I have the normal stop loss at minus 26 ticks. And then we can have the screenshot. So normal stop loss, minus 26 ticks. And then we're going to keep that right there. And then, of course, I want to make sure I put this as my entry and that as my entry. There you go. That way we could have this journaled. All right, let's see if we could get some type of movement. We do have 2 minutes until that 10 p.m. The next question is, do we add to this? Can we add if we do break above, 50.8? 50.8. We are starting to see that reversal. We tried and immediately failed so far. The question is going to be, is this was resistance? Is this resistance going to become support? And, maybe we see something like this, where we have that nice rally, and that would be a nice move to move this aggressive stop loss. This aggressive stop loss is at minus 20 ticks. So I want to make sure I'm keeping track of everything. There we go. So let's see if we could get some. I'm going to always keep my charts clean. This will be my next spot to move my aggressive trailing stop. Making the daily loss limit adjustable to the trader by themselves make them a better trader. Bernie, yes, I agree. If traders can do that, then they're going to be a lot better off, right? I think that was kind of the whole idea behind it, and my understanding, where it's a double-edged sword, right? Having no daily loss limit and making it adjustable for their traders is one. It's going to suck for the traders who just don't use it and they just blow up account, and then it can start to feel like gambling. But two, traders who need and learn how to do it themselves or use it themselves are going to be a whole lot better. JOE fan, I could use Ninja Trader if I wanted to, but I made the switch. I still use Ninja Trader for my personal accounts, but I've started to really like Topstep X, so I've switched to Topstep X. All right, now we're starting to see some slowdown. I would like to. I still want to see this. Is this the pivot? Was that the pivot that I was looking for right there at 49.4? Looking for a pullback and then a continuation. So immediately the first thing I'm thinking is that would be risking 8 ticks. 8 ticks on that is, do I move my aggressive stop loss to this? And I think I'm going to. That to me would be the right thing for the aggressive one. Nope. I'm a little too slow to move that. So I'm going to keep it there. Trying to make it as realistic as possible. That one was 20. Still waiting. So far, so good for the reversal, right? That was the initial move. So I think the reversal would have played out best. So that was the initial move. And then, it's a little bit before 10 minutes after. It was only 7 minutes after we got the reversal. So was the reversal the right play? So far it's kind of looking like it. Yeah, maybe the reversal was the right play. Being patient and waiting for that reversal was so far the better. Yeah, reversal was the good play. So this is just another good example. I think this is going to be a great for like the journaling standpoint. Reversal play, right? We went into tonight saying we're going to wait for the initial move, and we did get it a little bit late, and then taking that reversal. The reversal did come 7 minutes after, not 10. But yeah, so far the reversal was a lot. The reversal trade too would be right where my entry was. So instead of being long, it would have been right at that 3-bar reversal, right? 1, 2, 3. That's a 3-bar reversal. And it looks like my entry would be right there at that 3-bar reversal. But that still wasn't that big of a move, but it was the initial move, right? Taking a reversal off the initial move. Once again, looks like it was the correct play. Yeah, so far anyway. Now, the aggressive stop loss would have been stopped out. So aggressive stop loss stopped out. There would be a reason. Now, we're in a long, so I want to play this as we are trading. There is an opportunity to add to this position. If we get a reversal now. So, for example, if we do get a reversal, we could add to that. So, taking another trade or adding to this position, looking for a move back up, where this one's a little bit more of a tighter stop loss. Your take profit is my stop loss. Sometimes that's the better one, right? Yes. Yeah. Somebody noticed that. This account says YOLO Monday. I put that there because of the removal of the daily loss limit in honor of all those traders who's going to be using their max loss limit as their daily loss limit. Is what I'm doing that for. Yeah. Yep. So there's going to be my second entry. So I'm going to go ahead. I got into a second contract. So, okay. This is going to be an interesting one tonight, guys. This is going to be a very interesting one. So, I got to put this. All right. So we're in 2 contracts. Okay, so this one got stopped out first. And so, how are we going to do this? This is going to be an interesting one for tonight, guys. Sorry if it's a little bit complex and a little bit messy, but that is just part of trading. That's going to be part of trading. I'm going to have to create another aggressive stop loss. Because our normal one did not get stopped out. So, and I'm going to say it's going to be right here at minus 19 ticks. Trying to do all these different scenarios because this is trading. So the first one would have been stopped out right there for minus 20. Yep. So there you go. And this is why I say a picture's worth 1,000 words, is because when I journal this, it's going to be easier to take a screenshot than to try and explain everything that's happened, right? It's going to be very hard to explain everything that's happened in this trade rather than just taking a screenshot. So here we are. We added to this position. We added at the reversal on this move. And now we're going to see if we get a nice rally and a break to where we ran some stop losses to the top side. Sure enough, went down, ran some stop losses to the bottom side, and now we're starting to push. So if we had the aggressive stop loss originally, we would have been stopped out for minus 20 ticks. Our normal stop loss has been playing really good. This is down here, minus 20. It also allowed us to re-enter. Here. So now we will see how this one will play out. So stopped out. I'm going to just put stopped, maybe. Stopped. All right, there we go. And now let's see if we're just going to be choppy. Yeah. Yep, here we go. Let's see if this is going to be choppy. We're 17 minutes after already. Wow. 17's too choppy for me. Yeah, it could be very well too choppy on this example, but that's part of experiencing these different market conditions. When we can add one more, I definitely added one more basically right there. Right there, we got that reversal. This is a 3-bar reversal, 1, 2, 3. After we ran liquidity, and one of them was this aggressive stop loss. And now the question is, are we going to break? Can we break above these 50.2? 50.2, if we do break above these 50.2, then maybe we can run up to this 51. This would be my first take profit. So maybe we could even, do a level here and just say, first take profit. So I would actually like here. And we could even label this as first take profit. And that is not an interesting level. So first take profit, we'll see if we can get up there. And then we could also use a second take profit, maybe at 54, right? 54. Or we could hold one and see if we could even push to new highs. Let me look at a 5-minute chart to see. Let's see. So first take profit, maybe there's an argument to say this at 54, and then another one possibly at 57, and man, all the way up, right? So, very much. Do you want to hold a runner? What are we looking for? Do we even get up there, right? That would be the next question, is if we do start to break out, what would it look like? And can we get up there? And that first take profit would be plus 21 ticks. So let's go ahead and NQ is breaking up, someone says. I'm going to go ahead and just draw that as a line. I like that. That looks a lot cleaner. I got to get it so everything looks nice and pretty for us. Right there. There we go. NQ is climbing. NQ is breaking up and out. Let's see. I mean, ooh, it looks like we just made equal highs. We didn't make all-time highs yet. Not all-time highs, session highs, right? 832 evens. Is that it? Right around 832. So there could be a trade. A very realistic trade could be to enter long for a breakout. Yeah. Do I want to get in this is the next question. That could be a trade. A breakout to new session highs, and then we could target maybe 60s. I do like it. The question is, can we manage risk? That is the question. Where would be our stop loss? I like stop loss at 09, so we'd be risking about 10 points. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see if we can make another point, because I think a breakout above these 33s would be great. The question is, where do you get in? And just because I see a trade set up, and just because it looks bullish, and that could be one, doesn't mean we always have to take the trade. The question is, can we manage risk? Does this trade make sense? Can I get into this market for a breakout trade with a decent stop loss? Does the risk make sense? Does the reward make sense? Where we could get a breakout and maybe a run to 90s. We could even make a run towards this, right? That is a possibility, to make a run towards even 900 if we break out. The question is, can we get in managing risk? And is that realistic? Yeah, I do see it being realistic. 900 from here is quite a way away. I mean, it is slow markets after all. Even though we did sell off 100 points and we rallied 100 points, yeah, I do like that trade. I do like a break to the long side. The question is, I don't think it would be a scalp. It wouldn't be that great of a scalp. Or a slow markets trade. This might turn into a much longer one. I would like to see a pullback. I would much rather see a pullback. I mean, we are making nice higher lows, right? Higher lows, higher highs. I'd rather see a pullback. This thing could break, and it could break without me, and it's just one of those where it looks really, really good. I'm just not going to chase it and jump in. And plus, I'm already in a gold trade right now. Let's just focus on this for a little bit. Focus on this gold. Why not do a buy stop? Just because of the risk reward. I'll explain that in just a minute. We'll go back. Let's see how this gold trade is going to play out. And then I'll go back and we'll take a look at NASDAQ again. And I'll talk more about the NASDAQ and why I was a little bit hesitant getting into a buy stop or just buying the market, even though NASDAQ's looking really bullish. And I do think it's going to break up. Just because you think the market's going to go in one direction doesn't mean you shouldn't place the trade. For me, it's more about the risk and the risk reward rather than just, hey, this is going to go up, I'm going to buy it, even though you might be right. To me, it's about following the process rather than just trying to chase a market that looks like it's going in, you know, a specific direction. I'll watch gold up here. I'm at 220, so let's take a look back at NASDAQ. So anyway, what I'm talking about on the NASDAQ is it does look extremely bullish to me, or at least maybe making a run up to these, like towards 890s, maybe 900 even, 890s, upper, you know, 880s. For me, where would my stop loss be? And if I'm looking for a run to say 890, you know, do I have a one-to-one risk reward better? I mean, say I get in here, I could have my stop loss maybe down here. So yeah, there is an argument to be made. I would much rather see a little bit of a pullback, maybe down towards 800, and then I could have a much better risk reward, or I could have a more loose stop loss, or a more realistic trade for the way I want to trade it. Or I could even have a stop loss up here. So I don't know. I would like to see us consolidate a little bit more, or some type of formation rather than go up, test it. Because, you know, if you're looking to short this market, this could be a cheap trade for a pullback down to 800. But I'm wanting to buy it, and I'd do better off, you know, following a better risk reward, even though this is looking very bullish to me. Maybe we just do it. For example, you know, I'm actually, let's do it. Let's see if we could get in one, and we'll do it for tonight. Why not? It's looking really bullish. Let's see if we could get in. Get in at 23.50. If we'll let us fill this. It's low liquidity. Okay. Now, first of all, my stop loss may be below these. So I'd be risking 91 ticks, and a take profit would be 240 ticks. So maybe something like that. Will it play out tonight? Man, I doubt it. During this stream, we'll watch it. Let's watch it. We can manage it. I could close it out early. Maybe we just take a quick, you know, 10, 20 points if we do break up on this trade. And look at the DOM. The DOM is very, I mean, look at the spread. There's not a lot on the bid and ask. The spread's about, you know, 1.5, maybe 2 points at times. So it's not looking too great for a trade, or like a quick in and out trade. More of a slow markets where I'd let this run overnight. This could be a trade that I let run overnight, right? Maybe that could be a little bit better, where I just keep my stop loss there and I go to bed and I wake up and, you know, I either lose 91 ticks on this or I make the 264. I mean, let's just watch this play, and maybe I make a decision at the end of the night to just let this one run. And like I said, this is for you guys. Let's watch this thing play out, and if we do start to break up, this could be one where it's a slow markets trade. It's a breakout trade. This is a decent risk reward. Maybe we could even make an argument for even lower. I like that as a stop loss. We'll watch it. Now let's go back to gold. We're in the middle of a gold trade. All right, second aggressive stop loss I think is just going to be hit. To me, that is going to be where that aggressive stop loss is, which would be minus 4 ticks. All right, there we go. That could be the second aggressive stop loss, because kind of similar like NASDAQ, right? We're making these higher lows. Right? There, and there. We have not broke above the 50.8. We have not broke about that. Not broke above it. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Well, actually, you know what? We have the beautiful thing of doing this. And let's go ahead and we can, let's change this one to NQ. We have 2 trades going on. Yeah, that's why you just don't jump into a trade, right? There's always a better trade. And we're going to get this spread out just a little bit more so we have more room. There you go. There's a lot going on tonight, guys. There's a lot on this chart. And we'll see. We'll see how this sets up. We'll see how everything plays out. We're starting to get that pullback I was wanting on the NASDAQ. Then it's like, hey, we bought the highs after we start to sold off. Or, you know what? If I was going to get a breakout, maybe a better trade was to just do a buy stop up here above 33 to get in as we were breaking out. Tonight is just, I have a lot of things going on my charts tonight. I'm not used to managing so much. And a stream, and all these trades. All right, aggressive stop loss on that's going to be ticked out on here. It looks like maybe. Oh, nope. Finding some buyers right there in the 49s. And we can watch this NASDAQ trade to play out. I think this would be a trade I leave overnight. This NASDAQ one would be the trade that I leave overnight if we do. Bad news daily. We're doing this and we're letting it play out. We are letting this play out because we're doing these theoreticals. We're doing these examples. You know, what if we had an aggressive trailing stop? What if we add to the trade? What if we keep a normal stop loss? There's so many different scenarios, and this is what I love to do when we're analyzing a trading strategy. You know, we want to become better. How can we trade this market? What's the best way for me to trade this market? We're doing these, a bunch of these different examples. We are journaling. We are, doing a whole bunch of stuff in this, so that way, when it comes down to it, and we start to trade our, XFA or Combine, or doing it for real, then we have the confidence in it, right? And, what if we start to rally up here in gold and hit the take profit? Then you're going to go back and say, oh, dang it, I wish I didn't close that trade out. So, the point and the goal is to make trading and then allow trading to become as emotionless as possible, right? We do not want emotions to get into our trading to where we could do this. We could build a system to how do we manage this trade? How do we get in? How do we get out? Hopefully I could answer some questions while we are doing this, and I could show you guys through this by example, right? Some traders will love to listen to me. Some traders like to watch me do it. This is going to be a great one where we have a lot going on, and it will be great to, watch, review. We could talk things through, and I could go ahead and, as I do every single night, once this trade plays out or when we get close to the end of the stream, take a screenshot, put it in the journal, and then as we review all of our journals, we know gold does not act the same every single night. However, the way we approach this, the way we get in, the way we get out should be very consistent. It should be boring, just like anything else. I tell traders, you see it all the time, real trading can be very, very boring. And if you guys watched me every single night, it kind of is. It's almost the same thing day in, day out, night in, night out, where I'm getting in, how we're getting in. It's the same thing over and over again. Very, very repetitive and very consistent. Bill Meeks. As the markets move, I'm trying to get used to it. I typically don't have 2 trades going at a time. And I'm also running a stream, so I have to watch it in like OBS. I have OBS right here. I have the chat right here. And then sometimes when I'm adjusting it, I'm just trying to make it look a lot better for everybody. So like, for example, if I move this, making sure it looks a little bit better. I mean, what else do you do when you're just sitting here and you're just trading and you're making it like, as I'm adjusting stuff, right? So there's always something. Maybe a fidget spinner, right? Like maybe this can be considered my fidget spinner while I'm adjusting a chart, moving them around, making it look good, I guess. Richard Harris, I did talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it some more in just a moment. We're going to watch this one play out. So over here on gold, both of these aggressive stop losses would have been stopped out. The first entry, we would have been stopped out for minus 20 ticks on one contract. If we would have waited for a second entry, then we would have been stopped out for minus 4 ticks on here. But the normal stop loss is still there. It's still at, 25.47.5. I'm sitting at minus 20 ticks. We've tried to come up and break above this 25.50.8. We've not broken out. We failed each time we've started to get rejected. And here we are. We're going to let this play out. Aggressive trailing stop has been stopped out. I'm going to actually change the font here to 16. So that way it's not too in my face. There you go. That 16 for a font is better. You guys get to watch me do this. Such boring. Now we'll see. Usually, to be honest, when I've been trading gold and as I've been for the past 3 months now, the aggressive trailing stop has performed a lot better. So it'd be interesting to see how this performs, whether it got minus 20 or minus 4, or if this normal stop loss is actually going to finally outperform the aggressive one. I don't know. Turtle soup is where it runs the lows and highs and reverses immediately. I mean, this gold has been just nasty to trade, right? There's no price action. We've seen a spike in volatility, but that's it. NASDAQ, I mean, that's a good example why you do not just jump in and you wait for the trade, right? You wait, you show the patience. It's a lot easier to be patient and wait for the market to come to you for what you're wanting rather than just try and get in. Yeah. All right, we're almost up on time, guys. Sunday nights I've been trying to keep it to an hour. We have a lot going on, so let's talk about the daily loss limit for a minute. As we watch these trades come to a conclusion, let's talk about the daily loss limit. I know that's brand new for everybody. Traders come and join slow markets throughout the evening. But if you guys missed it, everyone should know this by now. If you logged into Topstep X, or if you caught any of TopstepTV, you guys should know. The removal of the daily loss limit is now in effect for brand new accounts, whether it's a brand new account that has been reset or a brand new express funded account. In Topstep X, there is no daily loss limit. Now, it gives us a lot more flexibility as traders. It also gives us a lot more responsibility, right? It's no longer, somebody holding your hand saying, don't worry, you're brand new to trading, but here's the daily loss limit. You might not like it, but this is what's good for you, right? Just like, a parent with their kid, the kid might not know what's good for them, but maybe in, sometime in the future, the kid's going to look back and say, oh, you were right. That was what was best for me, and I just didn't know that at the time. Or maybe not, right? Maybe there's traders out there or whatever. So I think it's really important to know the difference. You can still have a daily loss limit. If you guys missed it, over in the settings, you can set your personal daily loss limit, which is what I strongly recommend. Just because you don't have to have one, you can set one. I see it save traders all the time where you could get frustrated, you could get mad, and then you could emotionally blow the account, and then you come back and you wish that there was one. You could put it right here in the settings, in the risk settings, making sure you put an action here, whether to liquidate, and block. And you could even put a profit target as well. So just because there is no daily loss limit does not mean you don't have to have one. And here we are. We just got stopped out on gold for this account. As an example, let's go ahead and take that as a screenshot. We're going to download that image and we're going to go ahead and put it in our journal. And let's add that to today. We're going to do this as the daily journal. We are going to add that screenshot. We're going to go to the downloads. And like I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. We could just right there, you can see everything that's played. Save that as the journal. Go ahead. I'm going to go back to the, that's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and I'm going to clear everything off that. And I'm going to set it back to the one. There's the example. That was a better trade to enter on the pullback. So if it was me, I would love to be entering the trade down here and then having my stop loss lower. So yeah, that was a beautiful example of no matter what we might think the market, it's always better to just wait for the market to come for you or to you and wait for a better risk reward setup. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm just going to close this one. Let's get this one out of here. There we go. Let's get out of this. Let's go. There we go. Let's do that. And then, as always, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Everybody in the chat said that they were looking for gold to go up. It looks like the majority was wanting gold to go up. And let's finish this off with a couple trader statistics and then call it an evening, right? Everyone gets back to their family, relax. Everyone knows that, you know, United States football is going to be coming into play here shortly. So give me a second and let's review a couple trader statistics and call it a night. All right, let's get to it. The first one I am going to be looking at is, let's take a look at this one. Let's see how it looks. Make sure everything's looking good. I'm going to go a little bit quick. This trader is, there we go. Express funded accounts. Express funded accounts has a lot more pressure than a regular combine because you can receive a payout. I like these statistics at first glance. $1,700 over a month. Trader has been in this XFA for 1 month, right around just over 50-50 win percentage and a great 1-to-1 risk reward. And it shows, right? Nice, consistent, long period of time. You're not blowing your account. It looks like you started off in the hole and then you finally grinded yourself out. If you eliminated these 2 days, 3 days, right? So out of 1 month, 3 days, maybe even, the fourth, which is this tonight? Obviously, like you're just, to me, immediately, like you can't argue with profit. But as I start to scroll down, I think one bad day is eliminating a few good days, right? And you can see it right there. One bad day is completely wiping out 3 good days. Letting your losers run, it looks like, which is the opposite of kind of what you want to do. It looks like if you have a trade that goes over 5 minutes, the majority of the time it's going to be a loser. Yeah, I mean, it's still profitable, right? You're still profitable. You're still making money. The one thing I just don't like seeing is one day could eliminate a lot of your winning days. And emotionally, that's hard to do. But not too bad. You're trading micros. I love to see that. Micros is a very good thing when used correctly. I'm messaging back and forth with Mick on how to properly use micros and scale up. So maybe I could have that conversation, one of these nights, and we could go in depth. Let's do that. Maybe let's plan on Wednesday night with Coach Jay. So Wednesday night with Coach Jay, I'll talk more in depth about micros, because I want to continue to have more in-depth conversation with Mick. All right, last statistics, and I'll be done for the night. So here's another XFA, Express Funded account. $4,600 in this account. This one's been just around a month as well. I mean, man, a lot of these statistics are starting to look the same, right? I do like the fact that, it's not a high win percentage. 68 is, on the higher side, not totally, extreme where it's 80 plus. Really close to a 1-to-1, a little bit under. A lot of trades. It looks like one contract per trade. It's 400 trades in a month. Hopefully it's micros. Great trade duration. It looks like this. You had one really bad day, and then you've been kind of grinding it out. Nothing too dramatic. Yeah, this is the same. Another one, right? Where one bad day can wipe out an entire week's worth of profit. So this is interesting to see. A lot of green days and just one bad day. Trading micros, I like that. I mean, that makes sense on why you have a lot of volume. Someone says 2 payouts. Okay, that's good if this trader's taken 2 payouts already. This just scares me, right? What if you have 3 bad days in a row, and that would completely destroy your entire month, right? 3 bad days in a row would eliminate all of the entire month. So just be careful, be sensitive, knowing that when you do have a bad day, it's going to wipe out an entire week's worth of profit, or at least really close. And you never want to do that. Looks like this was on a Thursday as well. Interesting. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to end it there. And so remember, trade safe. And I know it's going to be interesting to see how traders go about, having the daily loss limit. I'm going to be on TopstepTV tomorrow morning, stressing it again. I'm going to be on, I think MP might be on as well. It's going to be a great conversation. The daily loss limit is there to protect us as traders. Understand that. If you can put your own on there as well. If it wasn't for the daily loss limit, I'm sure there's a lot of traders who have been blowing their accounts a lot quicker. So with great responsibility or great risk comes great responsibility. So you guys got a lot of flexibility now. Topstep's been so amazing. They are, light years above any other place that I've seen so far. Everyone else is just playing catch up, it looks like. So until then, remember, D is going to be on London session. You guys had Nick for a tick earlier. And then, of course, Coach Jay at the buzzer. And he'll also be joining me on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.